My project is a web application that does Chinese characters translation and decomposition. I built this website because it's very important for Chinese language learners not to only know the meaning of each individual characters, but also the keys that each character consists of. It was a 2-week project for the software engineering school that I'm going through, and I wrote the entire code base and I set up the server. I used Python for building the decomposition engine. I used Flask for building the web app, and Bootstrap for the front end. I chose MongoDB to store all the data because I didn't need a relational database, and I also wanted to play with non-SQL database. Here is the overview of the project, and here we have our client making an HTTP request to the web server, and depending if the page is static or dynamic, it either processes a static web page and sends it back to the client, or if it's dynamic, it gets then the information gets passed to our app server for the further processing. App server gets connected to the database, grabs all related information about the character, meaning, translation, and then the app server passes it back to web server to process and create an HTML page that will be finally passed to the client. In terms of code, I would like to walk through this function and method that actually does the actual decomposition and querying the data. So here I am connecting to my MongoDB database, and here I am accessing my schema that has 2 tables, and each table has basically a key value pairs, where key is a character and the value is the list of keys that this character consists of. And our second table is the keys with their meaning. Meaning is the value and the key itself is the key. Here I am validating if the user passed an actual Chinese character, and for that I'm using a regular expression. And if it's a valid one, it's gonna go inside this loop. And here we are looping through all the characters that was passed, because one Chinese word could be a combination of 2 different characters or 3 different characters. So we get each individual character, and then we are accessing this character definition in our characters table, and we append this character with its meaning to our final list that we are creating for returning it to the user. Here I have scene, and this is basically the check, because sometimes a Chinese word is a combination of 2 the same characters, and we don't want to just be adding same characters and keys of these characters to our final list. And once we are done with reading all the characters and the meanings, we are returning the final list. To improve this project, I would first of all make sure I have no single point of failure on my server setup. So I will add a load balancer to distribute the traffic between 2 web servers, meaning I will also want to add another web server and another application server, as well as a replica database. In terms of security, I will add HTTPS, and I will also set up firewalls on all my servers.